You have 1 minute to solve one question. So here, instantly you have to work on your thoughts. Your conceptual depth should be extremely great. Negative magnetic field is called corrosive field. You have to have ideas to go for shortcut and simple simplifications. The component of velocity along x-axis is 0. Hello students, this is Samson Deepak, Faculty of Physics, Temple of Excellence, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysore. My dear students, in this session, I will be analyzing the physics CET paper of Karnataka, year 2019. Please do remember, while you face an entrance exam, it is time bound. You have 1 minute to solve one question. So here, instantly you have to work on your thoughts. Your conceptual depth should be extremely great. You have to have ideas to go for shortcut and simple simplifications. For a paper like this, 2019, it is more conceptual in depth. So you have to have topics at the tip of your tongue, nabbing simplification, analysis, eliminations. All these ideas put together will yield you success in an entrance exam. Now, we start solving the paper. The first question: in a cyclotron, he mentions a cyclotron. All of us have studied about a cyclotron, which is used to accelerate positively charged particles. It has two D's and it is under the influence of an electric field and magnetic field. Now, if you read the second option, it says the charged particle speeds up between the D's because of the magnetic field. Analyze, students. He says the charged particle speeds up between the D's because of the magnetic field. Is it possible? No. Why? Very clearly the theory says the charged particle speeds up the charge due to the electric field. So the presence of electric field in a cyclotron will speed up the charged particle. So this option does not hold good. Speeds up in the D. No. What is the function of the D? It is only to change the direction of the charged particle. These are supported by the magnetic field, which changes the direction of the charged particle. Fourth is completely inappropriate. Slows down within a D and speeds up within a D. No, the answer is undergoes acceleration all the time. It is because there is centripetal acceleration coming into picture. Because of this centripetal acceleration, the charged particle undergoes acceleration all the time. So the correct answer is the first option. Now, the second question. The number of turns in the coil of a galvanometer is tripled. We are increasing the number of turns of a galvanometer by 3 times. The number of turns in the coil of a galvanometer is tripled. Then which of the following assertions hold good? If you remember, we define a parameter called current sensitivity, where we write current sensitivity theta divided by I is N B A divided by K. Current sensitivity, where K is called a constant, reduction factor of the given galvanometer. Now I need to define the second term called voltage sensitivity, that is 1 by R into theta by I equals N B A divided by K into 1 by R. On either side, I am multiplying by 1 by R to get voltage sensitivity. So this is theta by I into R is V, N B A divided by K into R. Now please to understand, students, when it comes to current sensitivity is directly proportional to the number of turns in the coil, as you see in the expression, which means as you increase the number of turns, current sensitivity also increases. But what about voltage sensitivity? Now, if I increase N, what should happen to the voltage sensitivity? My dear students, there is also a factor R, resistance, in the denominator. When I say you are increasing the number of turns, that means the length of the coil is increasing, and we know R is directly proportional to L. Very beautiful. N is getting increased, which means R is also getting increased, because as the length of the coil increases, resistance should increase. As a result, this ratio N by R becomes constant. Why? N is increasing, R is also increasing, the ratio becomes constant. So voltage sensitivity remains constant, whereas current sensitivity increases 3 times. Since the ratio N by R remains constant, Here voltage sensitivity remains constant, but the current sensitivity increases 3 times because the number of turns in the coil is tripled. ನೋಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. It is simply an assessment of the topics I have learnt. I don't have deep mathematical calculations. If I am very thorough with the heart of my topics, solving CET physics, yes, is a beautiful cakewalk. Yes, students, next one. A circular current loop of magnetic moment M. ಒಂದು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಇದೆ. There is a current loop whose magnetic moment is M, and in an arbitrary orientation in the external magnetic field. Arbitrary andre random anta artha. So a current loop with a magnetic moment M is randomly oriented in an external magnetic field. The work done to rotate the loop by 30 degrees about an axis perpendicular to its plane. Now, I have to rotate the coil about an axis perpendicular to its plane. We all know work done is minus mb cos theta. But in this case, work done reduces to 0. Why? I am not doing any work to rotate the coil because the axis is perpendicular to the plane. Nodi matpuna, my concept is helping me to instantly get the answer. This expression holds good, and I can substitute for theta only if the axis is parallel to the plane. The moment I read in the question that the axis is perpendicular, a coil na perpendicular axis rotate ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ immediately work done is 0. So the answer is the 4th option. Why do I say it is the 4th option? Very clearly, the coil is rotated about an axis perpendicular to the plane. Now, in a permanent magnet at room temperature, very clearly, domains are partially aligned. Room temperature, domains have to be partially aligned. Again, a very important question. Corrosivity of a magnet where the ferromagnet gets completely magnetized is 3 into 10 power 3 ampere per meter. ಏನಿದು corrosivity andre? If you have studied corrosive fields, corrosivity, it is the reverse magnetic field required to completely demagnetize a magnet. See, even when you take off the external magnetic field, a external field na zero madudro, sometimes there will be residual magnetism. So what do? I apply a negative magnetic field which will completely demagnetize a substance, and that negative magnetic field is called corrosive field, magnetizing intensity. So this 3 into 10 power 3 is the negative magnetizing intensity. The minimum current required to be passed through a solenoid of 1000 turns per meter, so that the magnet is completely demagnetized in the solenoid, has to be calculated. Andre, you are placing the magnet inside this solenoid ಅಂತ ಓದಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಹೋಸ್ಟಾಟ್ ಅಂತ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿದ್ರೆ one of the examples of a solenoid. ಸೊ ಆ ರಿಹೋಸ್ಟಾಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. How much is the reverse corrosive field? 3 into 10 power 3. Solenoid has 1000 turns per meter. I will calculate the current that has to be passed through the solenoid to completely demagnetize the material. So as we have studied, the magnetic field for a solenoid B equals mu naught Ni. So this is the expression for magnetic field due to a solenoid. Now, how do I rearrange this expression so that I get H from this? B by mu naught is N into Y. And my dear friends, if you know the theory again, this ratio B by mu naught itself is H, magnetizing intensity. So 3 into 10 power 3, number of turns is 1000, which is 10 power 3 I, or I is 3 ampere. See, ಎಲ್ಲೂ intensive mathematical calculations ಇಲ್ಲ. If you know your theory again, I stress upon that statement, calculations become very simple. Next one. Which one of the following nuclei has shorter mean life? ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, dn by dt along y-axis. ಏನ್ dn by dt ಅಂದ್ರೆ activity, very good. Time along x-axis. I should know which among the graph curve has shorter mean life. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ನಾವೀಗ ಮೀನ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹೋಲ್ಸೋಣ. ಐ ನೋ mean life is 1 by lambda. What is lambda? Decay constant. Very good. Mean life is 1 by lambda, which is decay constant. So, as lambda increases, mean life has to decrease. Shorter mean life. As lambda is increasing, mean life has to decrease. How do I equate this with activity? I know dN by dt is equal to lambda n. This dN by dt is activity. So, as lambda increases, activity increases. As lambda increases, mean life decreases. As lambda increases, activity increases, which means the curve with a steeper line or a steeper curve should have more activity or less mean life. So it is option A. Mat puna nodi, lambda increase adre, ಡಿಕೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮೀನ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಡಿಕೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. So how do I denote activity? Steepness of the curve should be more. More steeper, activity is more, less is the mean life of the nuclei. So A should be the answer. Now, the conductivity of a semiconductor, please to understand, it is semiconductor increases with increase in temperature. Why? Conductivity of a semiconductor increases with increase in temperature. Now I have an expression for resistivity, which is M divided by N E square tau. Why I opt for resistivity? Because resistivity is the reciprocal of conductivity. He is giving me the question in terms of conductivity. So we know reciprocal of conductivity is resistivity, and we have an expression for resistivity as M divided by N E square tau. What is tau? Relaxation time. It is the time required for two successive collisions. ಎರಡು ಅಯಾನ್ಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಗಳು, ಇನ್ನೂ ಪ್ರಿಸೈಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ಫ್ರೀ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಲೈಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ whatever time is required, that is called relaxation time. Now, as temperature increases, when I increase the temperature, I am feeding the electrons with more kinetic energy. Temperature ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಗಳ ಕೈನೆಟಿಕ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಕೊಗ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು. So what do? They frequently collide with each other because they have gained kinetic energy. Frequency of collision is more. So time for two collisions become less. That means as temperature is increasing, relaxation time decreases. Why relaxation time is decreasing? Kinetic energy of the electrons, the charges here, semiconductor, holes and electrons. Kinetic energy gained is more. Frequency of collision is more. So what happens? Time for collision decreases. Relaxation time has decreased. What about N? Number of charges. ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ per unit volume. In a semiconductor, there will be a depletion region where neither the holes or electrons can enter. As you increase the temperature, potential ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ depletion region breaks down. Recombination of charges, N will increase. So, for a semiconductor, as temperature increases, relaxation time decreases, number of electrons per unit volume increases. So, one quantity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು quantity ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು. So, rho should not change. No. What happens is, increase in charge density will be so high, the effect of relaxation time will decrease or will completely take off. There will be a drastic increase in N, which will subset the decrease of relaxation time. So, since N has increased, resistivity decreases. Resistivity decreases means conductivity has to increase. Why? Number density of current carriers increases, relaxation time decreases, but the effect of decrease in relaxation time is much less than the increase in number density. So the fourth option will be the answer. Now, in the following circuit, P is 0, Q is 1. So this is a gate with a bubble, not gate, addition complement. So 0 and 1 will be the answer. An antenna uses electromagnetic waves of frequency 5 megahertz. Frequency of the electromagnetic waves is 5 megahertz. For proper working, what should be the size of the antenna? So we know the expression H is lambda by 4. For a proper working of an antenna, its height should correspond to lambda by 4, where lambda is the wavelength. Now, how do I calculate this lambda? Frequency is given, and for an electromagnetic wave, C is nu lambda, or lambda is C divided by nu. Velocity of light in vacuum divided by 5 into 10 power 6. This is 3 by 5, roughly around 0.6 into 10 power 2. Plus 6 goes to the numerator, minus 6. So this is 0.6 into 10 power 2 by 4. Somewhere 3 by 2, 1.5 or 15 meters should be the answer. So the answer should be around 15 meters. If P, Q and R are the physical quantities having different dimensions, very clearly he says different dimensions, which of the following combinations can never be a meaningful quantity? P, Q and R are physical quantities which have different dimensions. My dear students, recalling the principle of homogeneity of equations. What did we say? If we add two quantities, if we subtract two quantities or equate them, then it automatically means they should have the same dimensions. Or the other way, only those quantities which have the same dimensions can be added, subtracted, or equated. If they don't have same dimensions, you can neither add those quantities, you can neither subtract them nor multiply. By this principle of homogeneity, the meaningless combination is the first one, P minus Q divided by R. Division of dimensions is not possible. See, if you take 4 meter minus 4 seconds, it's completely nonsense. Why? Their dimensions are out of match. So, by principle of homogeneity, the first option does not match. 12th one. In a given graph, shows the variation of velocity with position for a particle moving along a straight line. So this graph gives me the variation of velocity with position for a body which moves along a straight line. One dimensional motion. Now, which of the following shows the variation of acceleration with position? I have a graph indicating variation of velocity with position. The consequent graph which shows the variation of acceleration with position has to be given. Observe this point. At this position x, velocity becomes 0. At the position, at the origin, the particle has maximum velocity. It decreases along a straight line, and at x, the velocity becomes equal to 0, which also means at x, the acceleration of the particle has to be 0. So if I compare, you can see that the acceleration B as well as D goes out of sight because at x, acceleration is 0. Now when you take the AT graph, it is on the reverse side, starts from the y dash and reaches the point x where acceleration is 0. So the correct option is the third one. The trajectory of a projectile projected from the origin is given by the equation y equals x minus 2x square by 5. Equation of a projectile, he says, is y equals x minus 2x square by 5. the initial velocity of the projectile has to be calculated. My dear friends, can you give me the standard equation for projectile motion? Yes, sir. The standard equation is y equals tan theta x minus g u square cos square theta into x square. You should remember this standard form, standard equation for projectile motion. When I compare this standard equation with the one given here, x coefficient gets cancelled, which means tan theta is 1. Comparing the first part of the expression, x coefficient is cancelled, which means tan theta is equal to 1, or theta is equal to 45 degrees. With this notion, I am calculating u, not u, initial velocity. So, if tan theta is 1, so this becomes root 2. So cos theta will be 1 by root 2. So tan theta is 1. Cos is adjacent side by hypotenuse, 1 by root 2. Substitute, I get 5 meter per second as the answer. I leave the substitution for you. Just substitute here, simplify, 5 meter per second should be the answer. Now, an object of mass 5 kg, there is an object whose mass is 5 kg, is acted upon by a force, where the force is minus 3I plus 4J Newton. So much of force is acting on an object whose mass is 5 kg. Its initial velocity at t equals 0 is 6I minus 12J meter per second. This is the initial velocity. Very clearly he says the time at which it should have velocity only along x-axis. The initial velocity andreno, when time t is equal to 0, 6I minus 12J. I have to calculate the time interval where the body has velocity only along y-axis, which means the component of velocity along x-axis is 0. I am calculating time interval only where y-axis, the body should have velocity along y-axis. For which, how do we do now? I want, yes, very good. So first I calculate acceleration, which is F by m. So this is minus 3 by 5. So now V is equal to U plus AT. Final velocity is 0. Now V is 6 plus minus 3 by 5 times t, or the answer has to be yes. So minus 6 is minus 3 by 5 times t. So the answer is 10 seconds will be the answer. During inelastic collision, which of the following quantity always remains constant? Inelastic collision, it is total linear momentum. Whenever there is inelastic collision, kinetic energy changes, total mechanic energy changes depending on configuration, speed of each body changes, but total linear momentum remains same. In Rutherford's experiment, for head-on collision of alpha particles with a gold nucleus, the impact parameter is always 0. Impact parameter for collision between the alpha particles and the gold nucleus is always 0. Frequency of revolution of an electron revolving in the nth atom is proportional to, we know, time period of revolution of an electron is proportional to n cube, directly proportional time period. Frequency is the reciprocal of time. So F has to be proportional to 1 by n cube. Nenpitಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, you should know how orbit number is proportional to radius, velocity proportional to orbit number, time period of revolution directly proportional to n cube, frequency proportional to 1 by n cube. Again, an interesting problem. An hydrogen atom in a ground state absorbs 10.2 electron volt of energy. The orbital angular momentum of the electron is increased by. Now, there is an electron in the ground state. Very clearly he says n equals 1, ground state. My dear students, what is the energy of an electron in the ground state? We have studied the hydrogen spectrum. We know it is minus 13.6 electron volt. Now I assume it absorbs 10.2 electron volts of energy. This electron, which is in the ground state, is absorbing 10.2 electron volts of energy and jumps to which state? Kottilvalla sir. But I know in n equals to minus 3.4 electron volt is the energy. See, nearly 10 electron volt difference is there. So very clearly now I come to understand it is excited to the second state. By Bohr's rule, angular momentum is nh by 2 pi. So it is in the second state now. 2h by 2 pi minus h by 2 pi, h divided by 2 pi nearly 6.6 into 10 power minus 34. All the answers in terms of minus 34. 2 into 3.14. Slightly greater than 6. 6.6 and 6. So the answer has to be in terms of 1.05. The end product of decay of thorium-232 90 is lead 208-82, the number of alpha and beta particles emitted. Follow thoroughly, students. If I have a nuclei X, A, Z, there is a nucleus X, A, Z. Mass number, atomic number. A denotes the mass number, Z denotes the atomic number. If it is decaying by emitting an alpha particle, what does the standard rule say? The new element form will have A minus 4, Z minus 2. Mass number of the daughter nuclei reduces by 4 units. Atomic number reduces by 2 units. Plus a helium nuclei is emitted. Similarly, if it is emitting a beta particle, what should happen? Mass number remains the same. Charge number increases by 1 plus a beta particle is emitted. Now, here thorium to lead, 232 to 208, if you follow the sequence, the answer will be 4 and 6. Rather than calculating each step, use this theory, you will arrive at the answer. The same question repeats in 2020 exam. If you refer to my discussion there, I've clearly given the answer. Fe has to be greater than Fn because the two protons are separated by a distance of 10 nanometer. 10 nanometer is greater than 2 Fermi. Distance of separation between the two protons is greater than 2 Fermis. Nuclear forces saturate, electrostatic force becomes dominating. Please to remember, nuclear forces are appreciable only until the two nuclei are separated by a distance of 2 Fermi. Any distance which is more than 2 Fermi, nuclear forces break down, they saturate, their strength decreases. So, since the distance is greater than 2 Fermi, electrostatic force is very much greater than the nuclear force.